There we go. Strapped up. Got, would that be nearly 20% of my body weight in the backpack? It's 35 degrees here in Brisbane now. It's absolutely terrible. And the humidity is just through the roof. So watch all the way to the end for some incredible tips if you're an out of shape white belt and you want to get in shape. Some things you'll notice when you're doing things like weighted marches compared to things like running and stuff like that, it's reasonably low impact on your knees. Holy shit, what a storm. Hopefully we won't get drenched. Check this out. Whoa. That's Queensland summer for you. You know, you won't get a lot of pressure on your knees and ankles and things like that, which if you do jiu-jitsu, think about it. Your spine is twisted in all sorts of ways. Your ankles and your knees often get submitted, especially when you get a bit higher. But people also, you know, don't tend to be extremely flexible, so they get a lot of undue pressure on their ankles and knees just from training jiu-jitsu, guys, which is one of the reasons why I love pack marches. So simple, and you get really durable legs with very little impact on your lower back, knees and ankles, which is fantastic. So keep watching, you'll see that I'm pacing. Got to get in and out before the storm hits really, really hard. And then towards the end, you'll see there's a lot of tips and tricks that you need to be aware of when it comes to cardio and pack marches and everything else. It's exactly 2.2 kilometers from our doorstep to the very, very end of this road, all the way back again. It's a perfect little thing to do for general aerobic fitness. One key thing, guys, if you're out of shape, I'm just coming off a cure of antibiotics, unfortunately, so I kind of consider myself a bit out of shape at the moment. But if you're a bit out of shape, you're a white belt and you want to get fitter, you're struggling with your rolls and everything else, if you walk so fast or you do training so hard that you can't breathe through your nose, you're going too hard. A very simple trick, for example, I'll show you now. When I'm walking, unless I'm talking, I close my mouth and I pick up the pace so that I'm just on the very, very verge of having to breathe through my my mouth instead of my nose. What this does is that it helps me build what's called aerobic threshold. That's your ability to take in and utilize more oxygen over time. So check this out. I'm going to pick up the pace and then no mouth breathing, and I keep that pace up as fast as I can with 16, it's almost 18 kilo, because there's a bit of water as well in my backpack for the distance that I want to do. So super simple. Keep watching till the end though, because that's where all the gold is going to be. We're nearing halfway, guys. Yeah. I'm sure you can see the end of the road. Maybe if I turn the camera around, that'll help. There we go. down the road. I'm going to chuck a left down here, cut through some neighborhoods and work my way up to it's actually a playground, it's a park, it's beautiful, shaded and shit. Hopefully I'll be able to get in there, do some push-ups and pull-ups before this storm sets in. Check this out, it's right above us now, so hopefully that's the case. Another lesson in cardiovascular training is this, guys: lifting weights it's not cardio. I don't care what old mate Instagram influencer fucking says. Here's what you got to remember: cardiovascular training needs to be continuous. And what that means is that there needs to be continuous blood flow to and from your heart. And this is where people get it fucking mixed up. I've had this debate a million times and I'll have it again. Will lifting weights improve cardiovascular capacity? Maybe, especially if you go from doing nothing to doing something, and that something is lifting weights. Sure. Now, long term though, probably doesn't have the best effect on your heart when it's compared to actual cardio training, such as pack marching or swimming, cycling, running, wrestling, things like that. Because every time you lift the weight and your muscles create resistance against that weight, what happens is this: it shunts the blood going back to the heart. So your heart pumps blood, then there's less blood that comes back with every beat. And what the heart does is that it thinks that it needs to pump more, so it keeps pumping and pumping and pumping. And this keeps happening over time. Now, what happens to the heart is that it's going to grow in thickness, but not the good kind. And that means that your ability to pump and receive blood diminishes over time. It's called a weight trainer's heart for a reason. So you want to make sure that you lift weights to get strong, and you do cardio for your lungs. See, I'm starting to pace a bit. I'm breathing. I need to close my mouth now, so I need to stop talking to be able to do what I want to do here. That storm is getting gnarly. It's so fucking humid. It feels like I'm in Malaysia. If you've ever been, it's very humid in Malaysia. Whew. We're just coming towards an end here, guys. You'll be able to see the playground. I'm going to play a bit, do some pull-ups and pull-ups, but when we get there, I'm going to share with you the very last lesson in cardiovascular training. No snakes or anything, thank God. It's brown snake season. That means red belly black season. If you're really unlucky, they're all in the same place, which people say doesn't happen here in Australia, but believe me, it does. We've had them in our laundry. Baby red belly blacks and brown snakes. There's someone here, so I'm just gonna make sure I don't get them in shot, be polite and shit. So here we go. Whew. I'm just gonna pop it up here. It's making a bit of a bzzz kind of sound, but hopefully you don't mind. Alright, we're about 1.5 kilometers in, 18 odd kilo in the backpack. What I've shared with you so far is this: you need to make sure to do things that doesn't put a lot of pressure on things like your knees and ankles and so on when you do jiu-jitsu, especially if you're getting into the years a bit. If you're 20 and you watch this, different story. You can probably get by with other things compared to if you're 40. Now, based on statistics, I know that you're not going to be 20, you're probably going to be between 25 to 40. So with that in mind, the last lesson when it comes to cardiovascular training, don't jump into high intensity training when you don't have a base of good foundational baseline cardio. It's called aerobic cardio. Your ability to take in a lot of oxygen, continuously keep taking in oxygen, sending that to your muscles and being able to utilize that. You need to create a base first. And yes, you can create parts of that base with interval training. However, it's not necessarily high intensity interval training, where you absolutely flog yourself. So guys, if you're a white belt and you're out of shape, you struggle with rolls and everything else, it's really, really important that you start taking your cardio seriously. Focus on drilling, positional sparring and everything in jiu-jitsu, and then in your spare time, 2 to 3 times a week, try to do some lower and medium intensity, longer distance cardiovascular training where you can breathe through your nose the whole time. You're just on the verge of breathing through your mouth. Super simple, but that's how you get in shape.